Do you want to look down on every other single character creation option in the game? Well, have I got the tree for you. So, Rise of the Separatists Clone Soldier Career Clone Officer Talent Tree. This tree changes the way I look at every other tree in the game. It's not just good, it's not just really good, it's built with a different philosophy, a different approach to making character creation options for this game. That's what it feels like. I want to rewrite every other tree from the ground up or just delete them and write new ones, because this is not normal. This is not normal. Okay, so it's a support, helper, leader, buffer kind of person, right? And there's 5 talents in the tree. Only 5, less than a third, that don't directly deal with that. Dedication, obviously, that goes without saying. 3 of them are just some grit and tough, and about standard amount for any tree that, not necessarily combat, but, you know, it's going to find itself in combat. It's a combat support kind of a character. That's normal. And then Clanker Killer to help you do the damage against the robots. That's it. Every other talent in the tree is all about helping the group, is dedicated towards the role of the tree in a variety of ways. In a variety of ways. So many different ways. And the efficiency, the action efficiency of this is insane. Like, this is not normal. This shouldn't be allowed. Okay, first of all, we got the couple ranks of command, that goes without saying. Help with their leadership checks, help keep people disciplined, help them with fear checks, that sort of thing. We've seen that a million times. You expect that in a tree like this, a leadership-based tree. That's normal. We have another talent which helps you with aiding your allies in cover, right? We've talked about this before. Like, you get into cover, but no, on the other side of cover, and your head down. It has to be down. Keep your head down, not above the cover. Other side and behind the cover, that's how you do it. And then you get a defensive bonus because you taught them how to do cover correctly. And that alone is pretty good talent, but it gets even better as you move through the tree. You can actually have it to where they retain the benefits of this, of cover for a time. And this is really good. This is really good. There is no reason to improve on it, but they do. They improve on it. Eventually, you can make it so that you have an easier time of activating it because there's an alternate cost, and also the timing can be better. There might be times when you can't activate it, but it would be helpful to activate it. Now you don't have to worry about that because you have other times at which you can activate it, and now you can do it kind of whenever you need to do it, and also alternate costs. What little cost there was, which really wasn't that big of a deal, was perfectly fine and it felt balanced for what it was. You can subvert that and just pay in a different way. It really didn't need to be any better at all. And what else do we got? Let's see. Oh, you can help people's combat checks, not just defensively, but you can help them offensively now by adding something to their role, to people around you, to their roles, which can have a wide variety of ramifications on the battlefield. Very flexible the way in which you help them. So really saying that it helps you offensively isn't quite the full story. It could be helping them offensively, or it could be helping them in different ways, like, for example, action economy. Speaking of action economy, you can also help them with their action economy. It's a leadership-based tree, so yes, we do have the field commander. We got the basic and improved. You can have people act at a time when they normally can't act, and eventually this can get even better. And so if you have a crappy group initiative role, but maybe someone was okay, someone was pretty decent, maybe you, in fact, were really good, it doesn't matter. You take the topmost slot, and then you can have everyone do at least some degree of actions before they normally would get to. Just to be clear, I was actually speaking more colloquially when I said actions. I didn't literally mean actions, although sometimes it literally is actions, but most of the time not literally actions. Anyway, what else do we got? Actually, let's pause. Let's pause from where we were. I just want to do a little summary, a little breakdown of where we are so far. So, we have an action, we have maneuver, and we have incidental, and we got passives. All of the things, all of the different types of actions, and I guess passive non-action, all the different types we have represented, and in different ways, defensively, action economy, and also a kind of flexible way, which is both, really. Offensive, defensive, action economy-wise, it can help you a wide variety of ways. We have all of the bases and all the ways covered, and that's half the tree. Half the tree. We have another half of the tree to get through. This is already better than most trees. The rest of it we could just fill in with some filler crap. A couple more ranks of toughened, or let's throw in a little damage talent, just one little damage talent, a little talking talent. Right there, leadership, maybe they have a general talking help. Remove setback die from your leadership checks. No, most of the rest of the tree is just more buffing and stuff. Like, this tree is not normal. This is not normal. This is not a normal tree. We got one type of talent which thankfully has kind of a weakness, at least in other campaigns. It helps buff your allies, but only if they're clones. That's it, only if they're clones. It's the Clone Wars. You got nothing but clones for the most part, and likely in your party or NPCs, you know, lots of clones, but it's only going to help clones. We got another new talent, Scrap 'em, which is a nice big offensive buff. Unlike the other one, this is definitely an offensive buff through and through. Basically, you pick a target and you're like, hey, focus fire on my target, and your allies are like, okay, and then they get a damage help or attack help. They're better at shooting your target. Pick a target, it dies better. And we have a basic and improved version. The basic version is fine. We don't need to improve it. But just like in the previous part of the tree, they improve it anyway. So it gets even better, like it needed it. For the Republic! You know what this tree really needs, besides nothing? Is a talent that helps a character just avoid death or incapacitation. It shouldn't be just death, really, because that means you're almost never actually going to use it. But incapacitation, you can use it all the time now. Someone's about to go through one of these status effects, incapacitation or death, and you're just like, nah. And I don't know, you say for the Republic or something, and they're like, yeah, I didn't think of that. Glad you said something for the Republic, and then they can just ignore death for a time, or incapacitation for a time. They can ignore it. And this is actually a really cool talent. I can't think of a talent in the game that better allows potential for really awesome stories, which could go either way. Like, you do this thing, and it might not even work, but you do this thing, you make it happen, someone's about to die, but you give them one last shot, one last hurrah, and they're about to throw the grenade, and they get like a triple despair, and they drop it at their feet, and it blows them up, and like, that's a funny story. You're gonna be talking about that for years. Remember that time? I gave you the inspiring speech, and you totally botched it like a dunce. Idiot! Or they don't botch it and they have a cool final death moment. One last chance to really make it count, because you know death's coming because you staved it off. Or incapacitation, which is decidedly less dramatic. Builds, how do you build it? Presence is important, but it's not overly so. You can definitely make a good case for a 4 in presence. There is one check which is it's pretty difficult, pretty up there, couldn't hurt from a 4 in presence, but also it's a leadership check, and you need leadership. You need ranks in presence and ranks in leadership, and also good checks of that. And so really, you don't have to worry about your check of that as much, because you're going to be going for high ranks in leadership, which is going to help you with the checks. So you're less reliant on the 4 in presence, and you could get away with the 3 in presence, I think. Which means if you're playing a non-clone species, or you are playing a clone, but the team size is so small that you can get a really high obligation or duty bonus, like obscenely high, I think it's technically possible to get beyond the 4-3-3 build, because that's really all you can get with the clone species. Again, depends on group size. But, with one of those two possibilities, you could go for a balanced multiple 3s, 4-3s build if you want, or I guess a 3-3s with a clone. Not a big fan of those, to be honest. If these are the cases, then yes, 3 in presence should be just fine. Or if not, if you're doing a typical 4-3-3 build, which most clone players are likely to want to do, you could do the whole, I'm going to focus on a really high dice pool to help in a role that my talent tree doesn't actually help me with. So 4 in agility, rely on the free skill rank, maybe buy another skill rank in there. You got the 2 green, the 2 yellow, you're shooting. That's good to hold you over for a while. Plus, clanker killer if you get that really early on. And then rely on your tree to help you buff. You don't really need the dice pool to be that high to do your role. That works. Another type of build I like in that vein is medic. In the new book, there may very well, hopefully there'll be a medic tree, a clone medic tree, but in lieu of that, if they don't, or you just don't have it yet, you could go medic with this one. Medicine is part of their natural career skill, and this one actually gets a couple knowledge skills as well. Not a lot, but it's enough to where it feels kind of worth it to really go hard on the intellect, to get a 4 intellect, maybe. 4 intellect, 3 presence. Focus on pistols, that way you can go into battle with a stim pack or a med pack in one hand, so it's already at the ready, pistol in the other. You can shoot when you need to, heal when you need to, move, shoot, heal, all in the same turn. Because it's a long while before you get a new action from this, and even when you do, it might not be something you want to do every single turn, so you have a wide variety here, and that could be a pretty decent way to go. And you definitely want to focus on range combat with this character, because it's very dependent on placement. The range of your buffs, they're not that big, especially very early on. Some of them they get better, but early on it can be kind of a pain to get in the right position. You need to focus on being in the right position to buff the right people, which means you don't want to spend time focusing on being in the right position for your attacks. The more obvious build, the one that really fits really well in your role and make sure that you're not going to have issues with it. Also, you could be a pretty good talker for the group, which may be necessary. 4 presence, 3 agility, you know, maybe the other 3 brawn for defense, survivability. It makes sense you would be a target. You want to make yourself kind of a beefy boy, because this is a formidable tree. But more importantly than that, this is a really fun tree with so much to do, and you can do almost all of your things every single turn. That's the real ridiculous part. You don't even have choices to make most of the time. It's just, I do everything. Everything I have every turn, for the most part. It's broken. It's broken. Still let your players play it, though, of course. I'm not saying ban it. It's awesome, but you're never gonna look at any other tree in the same way again. I can't think of another tree that fills its role this well, this fully. As I said, it feels like a different design philosophy, an entirely different approach in building this as the other ones. Alright, that's it for today, for today's look at the Rise of the Separatists sourcebook character creation options. Next time we are looking at the pilot from the Clone Career.